Abdel Bari Atwan, writer, commentator, and editor-in-chief of Rai Al-Yom, joins me again on the mother of all talk shows. Abdel Bari, anyone who thought there was a real ceasefire in Gaza has discovered that insofar as there is one, it's a prelude to a plan for the mass total transfer of the population there into the Sinai or God knows where, anywhere but their own land of Palestine, that is for sure. They didn't know that a ceasefire involved the systematic murder of people in the Gaza Strip, and they certainly can't have known that the war effort would simply be transferred from Gaza to the West Bank, where widespread killing by settlers and the armed forces of Netanyahu is now the order of the day. So any joy that we felt the last time we talked about the cessation of all-out war in Gaza has to be brutally tempered by these new facts, does it not?
You know, Brother George, it is a pleasure to be with you again in your very successful show here. You know, the answer, and I believe Trump actually planning to occupy Gaza, to imperialize Gaza, to transfer all 2 million from the Gazan to anywhere, maybe to the moon, because, you know, Egypt and Jordan, they refuse to take any refugee from Gaza. So we don't know yet, but he said he will send his troop to invade Gaza, to occupy Gaza, and to kick all the Palestinians out from there. Yeah, this is. I don't know. I would like to ask you and ask, you know, your audience, George, which is huge. You know, why the Americans hate us? What did we do to the American or to the West as a Palestinian? Why they want to transfer us? Why they want to ethnic cleansing us? Why there is genocide against us? And, you know, we are a very poor, very peaceful people. You know, staying in the refugee camps for the last 76 years, I am one of them. You know, I'm asking why this Trump actually treating us or treating our Gaza as a, you know, real estate broker, not as a president. And he wants to actually dismiss us from our even refugee place. 85% of Gaza are refugees. They are coming from, you know, from Ashkelon, from Asdod, from Jaffa, from so they are there in the refugee camps for the last 76 years. And now he wants them to be refugee again, where we don't know. Until now we don't know. So this is the question. This is the biggest question. Gaza now is a grave. You used to say, George, on all your programs that, you know, Gaza is the biggest open air prison. Now we are open air grave. You know, about 65,000 Palestinians or Gazan were massacred by the Israeli bombardment. And, you know, at least 30,000 of them are children, babies. We don't have hospital in Gaza. They destroyed all hospitals and people suffered. So now, you know, he wants to turn Gaza as a Rivera of the Middle East. We don't want Gaza to be a Rivera of the Middle East. We want to have Gaza peaceful. We want Gaza to be Hanoi if the Americans send their troops to Gaza. Hanoi to liberate every inch of Palestine and to list us as a refugee to go back to our, you know, towns in the occupied Israel, occupied Palestine. So this is the question. Why they hate us? Why he doesn't want us to be like everybody? Why he wants us to have a happy life outside Gaza and outside Palestine? If he is serious, he should actually put pressure on the Israeli and actually take our side and send us back to our towns inside Israel. This is our town, and there we will be the happiest people on earth. And why, for example, did the American actually, you know, kicked out the German, the British, the Russian from their cities when they were destroyed by the Nazi in the Second World War? No. You know, why he wants to apply this only on us in Gaza? I am really puzzled. I can't understand the West. I am living here for 40 years. I don't understand the Western mentality. And people are supporting, or some people in the West, supporting this kind of genocide, this kind of transfer, this kind of ethnic cleansing.
I don't understand it either, so I can't answer your question. What I do know is that, as you say, Egypt and Jordan have refused, and there are many reasons why they have refused, but one of the main ones is that their political systems would collapse if they were to agree to it. And now, presumably, Trump will levy some kind of penalty against Egypt and Jordan for their refusal. Netanyahu said, imagine the gall of this, Netanyahu said, Saudi Arabia has lots of land, let's send the Palestinians there, to the deserts of Saudi Arabia. And of course that's been treated with exactly the same contempt. MBS, not my favorite person, or yours, I'm sure, but this evening he said, the Palestinians are not immigrants in Palestine that can be asked to leave. This is their land. They're on their land. How can you kick out people from their land and expect other people to take them? Millions of them. Merely transferring the conflict, of course, because the resistance would still be in existence if they transferred them anywhere, and Israel would soon be at war with them there. So nobody's going to take them. Hampshire isn't going to take them. New Hampshire isn't going to take them. They're not going to be allowed back to Jaffa or Haifa. They're not going to be allowed to the Galilee. They're not going to be camping in luxury glamps in Netanya. They're not going back to Palestine. They're not going to Europe or America or anywhere in the Middle East. So where does that leave us? We're now in an absolute stalemate, aren't we?
It leaves us and actually to turn the whole of the Middle East in anarchy and armed anarchy. And, to go back to the 70s or 80s when they actually, the Palestinian turned to so-called terrorism. This is the problem. He is pushing the Middle East for complete anarchy. Why he is actually, as you mentioned, why he is, trying to transfer people from their land. They are immigrants. I admit they are. I am immigrants because, our country, our real country, is Jaffa and Jaffa and Tel Aviv and Safad and everywhere, and everywhere on Gaza. So this is, if he is really the leader of the free world, if he believes in the values of human rights, he should actually take our side. He should to say that to the Israeli, enough is enough. But he has actually, I don't know, he wants to enlarge Israel. He said several times that Israel is a very small country and we have to enlarge it. It means to annex the West Bank. It means to kick out or transfer all the people, all the people, Palestinian in the West Bank and now in Gaza, and also have, most of Syria, most of Lebanon, most of part of Egypt and part of Saudi Arabia and Iraq also. Why he is actually supporting this kind of actually assault on other people's land? Why he is only thinking about the Arab world and want us to suffer again? It's unbelievable, honestly. I think this is very dangerous here. Now he wants Gaza for the Israeli settlers. He wants Gaza as a real estate opportunity in order to enlarge his actually banks, his money in his banks, and also to give a huge present to his brother-in-law Kushner, who is actually also again a real estate broker. This is the problem. He's thinking of himself. And again, why he should or the Israeli should establish independent Palestinian state in Saudi Arabia. There are the Security Council resolutions talking about two-state solution, a Palestinian state, independent state, and an Israeli state. So why they don't respect the international law? Why they are coming in the end against the Palestinian? This is the problem. But Palestinians are deeply rooted on their territories. They are not going to be actually removed from Gaza. And they are willing to die than leaving their country, leaving their refugee camps. Even though they are sticking to the refugee camps, sticking to the refugee houses. Now it's sticking to the rubble. Thousands of, tens of thousands of Palestinians, moved from south of Gaza to the north of Gaza. And what they find, why they are walking for 40 kilometers to go to the north of Gaza. They are going to the rubble. They want to build their tents on the rubble. Said, we want to live and die here. And, somebody like Trump, he doesn't understand that. He doesn't understand the humanity at all. But just he wants to root out people, just to enlarge Israel and add next more territories to it, and to make the Israeli happy. Why he should do that? I'm really, where are the American people? Where is the Western people? Where are the European people? Why they don't say to him, enough is enough? You are endangering our security as European. We are neighbors to the Arabs. And, the Arabs wouldn't be all the time like this. Maybe they are weak now. Some of them are living on the American aids, financial aids. But even no single Arab country said we will take the Palestinian or the Gazan to our territories. And it means that, we are heading toward maybe more terrorism, more war. People are frustrated. People are humiliated. So if this makes Trump happy, I think, he will make the whole world miserable because of this kind of policies.
What will happen now with the second phase of the ceasefire? There are rumors that Netanyahu wants to collapse it now because he didn't fancy the PR impact of the release of healthy Israeli captives and having to release in exchange considerably more Palestinian captives. What's likely to happen? Will there be a second stage of the ceasefire?
George, Netanyahu did not accomplish any of his aims in Gaza. He did not destroy Hamas as he promised. He did not actually achieve the biggest history or the biggest victory he was aiming at in Gaza. And also he did not succeed to actually frighten, terrorizing the Gazan people to leave Gaza Strip. They stick to their territories and they are not going to move from there. So now his aim is actually to relieve the pressure on him from the captive families. Now he managed to release at least, now maybe 15 or 20 of them. So he wouldn't go to the second phase at all. Second phase, it means, a ceasefire forever, a permanent ceasefire. A permanent Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. I don't think he will stick. I don't think he will go to the second phase at all. I think he will start the war, like exactly what happened in Lebanon. He accepted the ceasefire in Lebanon, but after two months, which is the agenda, he started about 1,500 violations of this ceasefire, and still occupying the south of Lebanon. So the same experience will be repeated in Gaza. After he released some of the captive or the Israeli soldiers and women, and after he released all this, I think after that he will say maybe the Palestinians did this, the Palestinians did that. He will find a lot of excuses, and he doesn't need excuses to resume the war. And the third stage is the reconstruction. And I don't believe this reconstruction will start it, whether with the help of Trump or the agreement of Netanyahu. We know in 2014, the Israeli destroyed about 100,000 houses of Gaza. And we had a summit on Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, and they actually put about $5 billion to reconstruct Gaza. It never happened. It never happened again. Even all these talks about reconstruction in Gaza is actually just to buy time and to make the Palestinian people very miserable. This is the situation. I don't believe there is two stages, stage two or stage three. I think that Netanyahu will come back to war until he said, we want the hostages, but we don't want the Gaza Strip ruled by Hamas. As long as Hamas is there, and Hamas is deeply rooted among the Palestinian people there, among the Gazan people. So I believe, or I predict, that the war will come again, and genocide will continue in Gaza, hoping that they can actually kill as much as they can from the Gazan people, disarmed Gazan people. This is the future as I see it here from London.
Now, finally, we both know Lebanon very well, although the Lebanon that we can see today bears little resemblance to the Lebanon of the past. The new president of Lebanon shook hands with the American envoy, who was wearing the Israeli emblem, the Star of David, on her ring deliberately for the photographs. So the new president of Lebanon is shaking hands with Israel, metaphorically speaking. In front of him, she thanked Israel for what she said, defeating the resistance in Lebanon. They've got a prime minister in waiting who shares the same perspective as the new president. And all of them say that Hezbollah, which represents at least 30% of the electorate in Lebanon, is not welcome in the Lebanese government, when it's been a part of the Lebanese government for decades. What future do you see for Lebanon? Are they headed for war too?
Yes, they are heading toward war, and the Americans are pushing them to that. The Israeli, by violating this ceasefire, they are trying actually to ignite the war in Lebanon again. This envoy supposed to be actually neutral, at least. It has interfered in all the internal matters of Lebanon. They were interfering how to set or to build the new government in Lebanon. They actually put vetoes on certain names, and as you said, she was wearing the ring with the Israeli or the Jewish star there on it. And imagine that, there is no moral at all. She's supposed to be disciplined, not to actually provoke the people there, and to say, as you mentioned, that they don't want a third of the Lebanese people to be represented on the new government. Hezbollah did a lot of the good things in order to make this ceasefire working. They were very, very cooperative with the government and also with the American who were running the show in Lebanon. And now they are rewarding them because of their actually help to the ceasefire, with accepting the ceasefire. Even, they did not actually provoke the Israeli, or actually answer back when the Israeli bombed their cities or bombed their actually civilian. So, and instead of encouraging Hezbollah to be moderate, to continue his actually moderation and cooperation with the government, with the new president, now they said they should not the Hezbollah should not be represented on this new government. This is again a transfer. This is again, a destruction. This is again, canceling, a third of the population of Lebanon completely, and they want to root them maybe in the coming future. What will happen in Gaza, if it happens, it will be repeated literally on Lebanon. Now they want to finish Hamas, to kick Hamas out, and to kill as much as they can of the Palestinian, and the same thing will be applied to Lebanon. They want to root out Hezbollah completely, even if they turn to a peaceful party, if they turn to a very, very active on the government as a political party, not as يعني مقاومة resistance groups in Lebanon. So this is the problem. The American is supporting the Israeli. So you can see, this American envoy are insulting, humiliating the Lebanese people, and very, very, very provocative, and blackmailing them, and very arrogant. And I'm surprised why, the new Lebanese president and the Speaker of the Parliament, and also the new Prime Minister, why they sit with her. They should kick her out from Lebanon. Said, you are not acceptable in our territory. You are creating some sort of a disaster division. You want to create a war, a civil war in Lebanon. This is what she is trying to do. That's the problem. So I wrote in my newspaper, I said, she shouldn't be actually in Lebanon. She shouldn't be received by the new government, Lebanese government, or Lebanese president. This is the problem. And they should actually sit to her. We don't talk to you unless you force the Israeli to respect the ceasefire, all the ceasefire points. Otherwise, we don't want you anymore, and you have to suffer. And the resistance is there, and it will come back. And because of this American provocation, American humiliation of the Lebanese people.